Okay, I just went with the normal sound. Hi, Nadia. How about now? Is it better now? I just took out the mic. It should be working, I think, I hope. Is it working now? Yes? There we go. Hi, Nadia, Paul, thank you so much. Mom. Okay, let's start over. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric from Educute, and this is a channel about teaching where you can post your comments, you can post questions, and I'll answer them. I've got a very busy show for you today. I've actually got some topics that I'll talk about. The first one is agitated students, mixed level classes, and then finally, what to do when students receive bad grades. But before I do that, first, I want to say thank you so much for the support you've given me these last couple of months and this last year. The channel just reached 3,000 subscribers, so I want to say thank you very much for that. And on the Facebook group we've now gotten 600 followers and 600 people in the Educute Facebook group page. So I want to say thank you for that. Yeah, it's been some of the videos are taking off, which is very exciting. And oh, Nadia, Paul, guys, how are you doing? Post in, I'll read them. I enjoy reading everything you say, and I'll answer questions that you have in between. So before I do, while we wait a little bit, I just want to tell you what I've been doing these last couple of weeks. It's actually been very busy. Even though I don't have class, I've got all these other things going on. Recently, a company in Seoul asked me to go and do a seminar, and they asked me to do a presentation on phonics. For those of you who don't know, phonics is for kindergartners. It's basically teaching them how to read and the sounds of the letters and the words in English. And that's usually what the preschool students go through. It's for very young students. I haven't done that in a long time, so I've had to go back and do some research and learn again about how to do it. I've done it in the past, but the last couple of years I've been working with high school students and at university. So I've had to go back and, just work through how to properly teach students. And it's really good to go back and to learn these skills again. Because I remember when I was at university studying to become a teacher, I was studying at intermediate phase, which meant that I was studying to teach primary school or elementary school, middle school and high school. And I had a huge amount of respect for teachers that were training to teach kindergarten, because they had to play musical instruments, they had to learn how to make their classroom more colorful, how to make posters, how to work with young students. So I really appreciate teachers who work with young students. I think they put in a tremendous amount of work. I respect all teachers, but especially those that have to deal with younger students, because they're still learning. Hi guys, if you're new, just say hello. If you've got a question or you just want to comment, put it in the comments and I'll happily read it. The community has grown so much and I'm so grateful for everyone here, and I'm just trying to improve and bring you guys better material. I think it looks a little bit skewed. Let me just turn it a little bit. Is that okay? Okay, yeah. So, okay. I've written down some notes of these words that I say a lot, and it doesn't sound that good. See, I say and a lot, like, so, now, okay. Nazar, good to see you. How are you doing? I put these words here because, you don't realize how often you use these words while you think. So I want to train myself to speak better, especially, when I can cut it out. I've been great. I've been really busy. Like I've said, I'm working on a presentation to teach phonics. A company asked me to do a seminar on phonics, so I'm going to be working on that. Plus, I've been working on that teaching situations series that I've been developing and working on. I want it to be almost 100 episodes, but I've only finished the scripts for the first 24, and then I still need to shoot it and get some actors to be students in the video. So I'm very excited about that. And then Yeah, some of the videos on the channel are doing really well, which I'm grateful for, especially one on speaking. So I've been thinking, I said so. I've been thinking of doing another video on Wednesday since the one on speaking activities did so well. I'm thinking of doing a video on speaking activities for younger students and also perhaps speaking activities for adults, speaking activities using their phones. And since I've been studying and preparing for teaching younger students for phonics, I've been looking at how to play card games with younger students, especially when they can't read that well. So yeah, I'm just working through which videos to shoot. How about you guys? What videos would you like to see in the future? Okay, back to today. If you've got any questions, post it down below. But today I've gotten some questions that I think are really important, and I think this is going to be a really good episode, except for the first 2 minutes where the sound didn't work. And sorry, the sound is maybe a bit soft now. I think there's something wrong with the speaker. I think in the future, did I say think? In the future, I might use my laptop to shoot from. The video quality won't be that good. Right now, I'm just using my phone. But in the future, I want to use my laptop so that I can read the comments and I can look things up. And I've got a bit more control about how I do things. And I'll definitely have to get a new mic so that we don't sit with that issue. How have you guys been doing? Did you have a good week? Naza, Nadia, anything interesting happen with you guys? Um, yeah, this week I've just been working very hard, working on the series and on this presentation I have to do. Otherwise, yeah, just got to shoot some new videos and prepare. Oh, I also have to prepare for my classes. Unfortunately, with the coronavirus, they've pushed the starting date of our classes 2 weeks, 2 weeks on. So I'm only going to start mid-March. So I've got more time to work on things. Okay, guys, if you've got questions, just put them down and I'll interrupt and talk about that. But let me start with these 3 questions that I think are so important. I've done a little bit of research, and I'll also give my opinion on it. Been busy preparing for my next class, lots of research required. What is your next class about, Nadia? So yeah, you were busy. Well, what research did you do? What is your classes for? Okay. While I wait for you to type that, I'll start with this. So you can see, yeah, I've done a little bit of research. I wrote down some notes. So I think this is so important. I hope this reaches some people. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do a video on presentations, and something I'm very passionate about and that I've taught a lot. So I think I've got some interesting ideas to share about that, about preparing students for presentations. Actually, it's funny. The first video I shot was almost 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I thought about starting a YouTube channel. And I shot the video in the high school I was teaching at. And the very first video I shot was about teaching the students how to do presentations. So maybe I'll post that. I've never posted it before. It's on YouTube, but I haven't posted it. Maybe I'll post that video for you guys, and you'll see how old I look and how I taught 6 years ago. And then I'll do another video on me explaining it again, if you'd like to see that. So the first question actually comes from Julia. And she asks, how to deal with agitated 9-year-olds? Child care class. Ah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of research goes into it. So Nadia just said that she's teaching a class on child care and fire safety and things. Yeah, that and preventing accidents. Yeah, that's very important, especially so you're teaching it to the parents or to teachers or to the kids themselves, probably to parents, right? Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, Mom, how did you keep us safe when we were growing up? I've got lots of scars and stuff, but I think it could have been a lot worse. I'm glad I survived. Not because you were bad, Mom. Oh, nursery staff. That's really interesting. Yeah, I think it's something very important to them. And babysitters. Yeah, the people that are actually going to work. I think very interesting for teachers too. Actually, I've been doing interviews. Earlier this week, I did a Skype interview with Dudu Claire, a fantastic teacher, and we talked about teaching and our ideas. And I'll post that video a little bit later too. I just have to edit a little bit. Maybe Nadia, if you're up for it, once you finish it, I'd love to talk to you about childcare too. I'm sure a lot of teachers can find that helpful too if you're up for it. My email is in the about page, so if you're interested, you can definitely, or on the Facebook group, you can send me a message there, and I'd love to talk to you about that. Okay, now, Julia asked about how to deal with agitated 9-year-olds. Now, this could go two ways. It could just, cool, yeah, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you. Now, this could go two ways. Agitated 9-year-old classes. So this could be, maybe the students are just very rowdy and they don't listen to you, and the discipline isn't very good. Or it could also be, it could be students that actually get angry and agitated, and it might be a dangerous situation where that could escalate. So I'm going to actually answer both those situations where that can happen. So the first thing you want to ask yourself, this class that you have, if they're undisciplined and they're rowdy and they're agitated, are they just like that in your class? Or is there another more experienced teacher out there, maybe a stricter teacher, and when they go to that teacher's class, suddenly they're angels or they behave differently? Because then you have to think, well, obviously, there's something that teacher's doing that is really good that I should start implementing. In my case, when I first started teaching, my first year teaching my own class, it was really difficult. It was a tough school, and the class had a lot of strong-willed boys, and they were loud and fighting, and I had a problem with them, and then another teacher also had a problem with them, and another teacher. But our grade head, she was great with them. She was very strict, an older lady, and she totally controlled them, which made me think, obviously then it's not the class. It's us as teachers that have to improve our classroom management. So that's the first question you want to ask yourself. If there's another teacher that handles them better, what are they doing and what can you do to improve? Next one, rules. From the very first class, you've got to have the rules. You've got to tell the students, this is the rules in your class. This is the behavior that's accepted. And if they don't follow these rules, then they'll get punished this way. And be clear on the rules. Make sure that they agree to the rules too. Explain to them, why do you use these rules? Why do you want it like that? And tell them, in your class, they will only learn if it's a peaceful classroom. They're not going to learn if they're wild and fighting. Then you want to remind them of those rules constantly until it's second nature to them. Every day, before every class, you're going to say, okay, kids, remember the rules about walking around, shouting. We want to have an acceptable level of noise. Remind them of the rules every single time. What you would like to do is, usually it's not the whole class that are bad. Usually it's just a few, troubled students, kids that are more difficult to deal with. You're going to want to see those students alone. You're going to say, okay, guys, today the discipline wasn't good. Can I speak to Johnny? Johnny, I want to talk to you a little bit later so that we can work on this, because this is not what I want. And remember to stay calm. The worst thing is, as a teacher, we've got these emotions that run through us, that we feel like I'm a bad teacher if the class is, if they misbehave. I'm a bad teacher, it's my fault. And you don't want to share it with the outside world. But you've got to understand that kids are kids. They're 9 years old. They are there. You're the authority figure, and they will misbehave. They will do things sometimes. Yes, you're responsible for them, but you shouldn't take it personally. You should improve. But you should stay calm. You shouldn't let it affect your emotions when you're in the class as a teacher. Right, I'm sure we can all agree on that. So have the one-on-one sit-downs with these students, explain to them what you want. And I'm sure that if you apply the rules and you're grounded in your will in how you apply those rules, then you'll see an improvement in in their behavior. Now, the second one is something that's very important to talk about. I'm just pushing it a little bit to the side because I don't want some wall there. So the second thing I want to is when there's a dangerous situation. Let's say sometimes kids get emotional, adults get emotional, and they aren't in control of their emotions. Some boys might get into fights, or they might swear, or you can feel there's a tension in the class. There's something wrong with, if there's something wrong with a student, you can say, oh, you can see that there's something is about to happen. There's going to be an outburst. First of all, you're going to tell them in a clear, loud voice, 17 or more. Same thing, you're going to have to stand by your rules, and you're going to want to enforce them. You're also going to want to call them and have one-on-one interviews with these difficult students. But yeah, you got to be clear on your rules. Yeah, no, anytime. I just hope it's not too difficult to learn to actually listen to, Theo. Yeah, thanks so much. First time seeing your name. Yeah, it's things I want to talk about. I think it's very important, and it gives me a chance to think about them too. So I might not answer them exactly like I would if I was writing it out, but I think it's important to talk about nonetheless. So dangerous situation, you can feel that there's going to be an outburst. First thing, loudly and clearly tell the student to calm down. Maintain distance from them. You do not want to get close to that student. Maintain distance, because they might be in an emotional state where they might lash out, and you don't want to be close to them. If there's a fight, don't step in. Get other students to go in, or tell someone to call another teacher. Well, I'm a guy. I'll probably go in there, even if they're big boys. Probably get in there, try and sort them out myself. But I think that's the wrong thing. Teachers shouldn't get involved. Next thing you know, you're on a camera and somebody's videotaping you, trying to, or you might get, hurt while trying to do it. So keep your distance. Remember, those fights are usually very short. Other students will pull them apart. If it does get dangerous, get the other students to pull them apart. Then, next thing, if a student is very emotional and you can feel an outburst coming, remove them from the situation. A lot of teachers will say, okay, everyone, just calm down, calm down. It's not going to calm down. The class won't calm down. You have to remove that student. You have to say, okay, please go to the vice principal office, go and cool down, go drink some water. Just remove them from the situation so that they can calm down on their own. The last thing they want is more students with them. Sometimes, you can send a friend with them that understands them very well. But I would just say, okay, let's remove them. Once they calm, they can come back into the class, and make sure to talk to the student afterwards and tell them why it's wrong. Yeah, teaching is not easy. I think, and that's the thing is, if we think back on how we were trained, there are so many things that I wish I knew that you just have to learn through experience. So I hope with these videos, especially this new series that I'm making, I hope to answer in detail all these situations, because I'm going to show you the situation, the dialogue, and then I'm going to explain why we do things a certain way. I'm very excited for it, but you guys will have to wait a little bit. I'm busy with that seminar I have to go and do in a couple of weeks, and then I'll do more videos in between. Okay. So that's question number one, guys. Any questions from you? How do you deal with some of these situations where students get rowdy, or there's a situation in class where students might get angry, or curse, or get into a fight? I'm sure it's happened to you before. How did you deal with it? What do you think was the best way to do it? How did you react? What is the best action to take? Yeah, it's a beautiful full moon. I was just outside quickly going to buy some coffee. I went for a walk, it's a Sunday, and just saw the moon out. It's fantastic, so clear here in Korea. Yeah, it's still winter. I hope summer or spring comes soon. I miss the warm weather. I'd really like to get rid of all these jerseys and sweaters and stuff. Okay, let me take a sip of water and I'll answer the second question. Yeah, how are you guys doing? Yeah, making fun. humor is very important. I think with public speaking and in general, it's someone with a sense of humor. And most teachers that are successful, even the strict ones, they've got a certain sense of humor to them. Okay, maybe not all of them, but our favorite teachers usually had a good way of saying things or had a funny line. There's some memories that you have, and I remember my friend Willie. He's also a teacher, and he told me the story. He was in a technical school, and some boys wanted to fight, and this really old teacher came in, and he looked at them and he said, "You know what? I won't hit you. I'll tear your clothes so that your mother hits you at home." And that story just stuck, and the whole class just burst out in laughter. He told me, and that story just stuck to, I just remember that story. Okay, now, question number 2, mixed level classes. This is so important. I mean, when all students are individuals, we're never going to get a group of students that are perfectly on par. And then in some horrible situations, we've got students that are just on completely different levels. You get these advanced students with, very poor students, and you wonder, how are you going to deal with it? Because, you're going to teach a lesson, and maybe if you focus on the lower level students, it's too basic, and the more advanced students get bored, and when they're bored, they're not learning. Or if it's too advanced, the lower level students will just feel lost and they'll be unmotivated. So this is a struggle that most teachers deal with in our careers. And this is a question that came from Megan, or one of the great watchers of the channel. And she's also in Korea, I think. And she asked this question: how do you deal with mixed level classes? So I wrote down a lot of things. Okay, so one of the problems is that because we want to help our students, a teacher might only focus on a certain group. And that's a mistake, because you want to teach the whole group, and you want them busy with activities, and you can move around and help each group. But if you only focus on one group, the other students will, they'll be off task doing something else. So you don't want to do that. A lot of teachers employ the buddy system, where you get advanced students that are tutoring or teaching or helping the lower level students. And that's got pros and cons. The pros are, they say that the more advanced students are going to be learning while they're teaching, and that's true. If you find some students that can help the lower level students, they can help each other. That's why, with group tasks too, it's great if you've got a stronger student in there and they're working with the lower level students. That's fantastic. But the cons are a lot of, the cons are that a lot of these students, they're there to learn, and if they have to be constantly explaining something to someone that's lower level, they aren't improving that much. Yes, they are solidifying the experience and the knowledge they've got, but they aren't improving, which is bad. So, what do you want to do? You do want to encourage cooperation between the students in all classes. You want the students to work together, to learn from each other. And that is actually where you should go. Each student is an individual. What I would do at the beginning of the class, if there's a clear divide between the students, I would do an expert lesson. Each student should write down what they're an expert at. It could be playing a video game. It could be yoga. It could be, maybe some physical activity like soccer, or it could be they are very knowledgeable about a TV show or something else. Find out what they are an expert in, because everybody's got an interest. Then tell them, write down everything they know. They have to do a mini presentation to teach another group of students everything they know about this. And you'll immediately see how excited these students get, because finally they can share that knowledge with them, with their peers. They feel like they're an expert, and their confidence will be raised. And that's exactly what you want in your classroom. You want your students confident, knowing that they don't want to think, oh, I'm so bad compared to these other students that speak so well, or in my case, if I teach ESL, they don't want to compare themselves to these higher level students. Oh, I'm so bad, they're never going to learn. So you want to improve their confidence, and that's a great activity just to teach them, listen, you're good at something, and it's just a skill. English or whatever subject you're teaching is just a skill, and you'll improve. And with the help of these other students, you'll improve too. Also, so when you teach that, they'll learn to be more confident. What you don't want to do is you don't want to try and Mika, did you hear I hope you heard that first part. I'm just answering your question. Yeah, I basically said you want to raise the students' confidence. And the next point, what a lot of teachers do is they plan 3 lessons for one. They teach a certain material to the lower level students, the mid students, and the high level students. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to differentiate instruction. Now, this is a term that we've all learned. If you're a teacher, it means that you want to change the way that you teach the class. That means the input, the processes, and the output. You want to have different ways for the students to learn. Right. So, for example, you want to adjust the curriculum and the lessons to suit all the students. So you can have different ways that they can learn. For example, the input. You can have a way that they can read something. You can show them a video. You can do a listening activity. You can change the group activities. And this is the other thing. With the inputs, the way that you do the lesson, you want to have open-ended questions, not just the strict yes or no, where they can use their experience to answer, or they can use the material that they have to solve the problems. You want to have group activities where they work with each other. And you can also do project-based learning, where they do a project. It can be ongoing, meaning that it's not just stuck to the one lesson. It can be ongoing for the rest of the time. So with differentiated instruction, it means that you want to change your lesson to suit all students, especially if it's something they're interested in. So the input, the processes, and the outcome. So I just said input, they can have different ways to learn. They can even have different ways to answer. Let's say they have to do a writing activity, right? So you can give them different options to answer, for example, so they can pick the ones they want to do, right? So give them more freedom. We think that we want to limit them, to give them, the information we want to teach them, but actually open it up. Say, okay, this is the core content that I want to teach you, but I want you to use that in a different way. And that comes to the output too. What is the output? That is basically what they're going to do, so how do they show their mastery of the material you have? For example, Migam, can you give me any lesson that you might have done where you had lower level students and advanced students in the same class, and it was difficult to teach the lesson? Maybe I can give some ideas that I have on the fly. So yeah, put that in the comments. Guys, how are you doing? I know it's already 30 minutes. The first 2 minutes, the sound didn't work, and it's just me talking nonstop. How are you guys doing? I normally try to keep these live streams to about 30 minutes because I know you've got things to do when they read the same materials. Okay, when they read the same materials. So let's say you've got a reading activity for them. Maybe you can you can give them different ways to do it. So you can say, okay, read through it, mark all the words that you don't know, the vocabulary you don't know, write it out, and then go and look, and then you give them they have to go and look up what those words mean. You can also break it down into different levels too. You can say, okay, well, this reading activity, read this part, but some can't read, so they're very young. Okay, so they're basically kindergartners, or they're very low level. I'll have to think about this for a little bit. They can't read well. Man, I'm going to be stumped now. Let me think about it for a little bit, and I'll get back to you. If any of you have any ideas for it, please share it. Okay, so they're 13 years old. What about, so the reading material, maybe using material that okay, you've probably got a curriculum that you have to cover, right? Yeah, so you're going to that reading. You're going to want to break up the parts that they have to be reading by paragraph. Give them into groups, and in the groups they can read it together. And then if there's a smarter student with them, they can explain it to them. So basically, in the groups, you give them certain sections. Each group covers the section. And then they have to explain it to the rest of the class. Writing, yeah, writing is difficult. Actually, I'm constantly talking about all these videos I have to make. Writing is one of the things. I'm also not great at teaching. I haven't had that much experience. In the past, I've done it a lot when I was, 10 years ago. I did a lot. My dad says repetition. Yeah, Iman, actually, I've been planning a video, these top 10 or the 10 activities videos for reading, speaking, and listening. I still have to do the writing one because I've got another professor that taught me some really interesting techniques and games to use for writing. And I'll definitely do a video on it because I want to cover every skill. But first, I'm going to do a few speaking ones, and then that writing one, maybe a couple of weeks later, I'll try and bring that out. Yeah, I'll definitely think about that. Yeah, writing is something I've done a long time ago, but these days, it's just basically grammar and speaking. I should get back onto writing too. Okay, so I was talking about mixed level classes. So like I said, put them in groups, let them work through it, open-ended activities. Now, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. Nice competitions to make it interesting. Okay, so yeah, definitely use games. Group roles, yeah, great idea. You can have, a leader. You can have someone that has to look up things. You can have someone that, has to read certain parts. Yeah, or you can do group roles. Tell them what to do. It's really up to you. See how it goes. I would say first, yeah. See how it goes. You can just put them into groups, or you can give them roles within those groups. See what works best. You'll never know until you try. But I would definitely suggest, letting them work on it together rather than just read. And the students can help each other too, right? I want to tell you something very, very important. Now, when I was studying to become a teacher, they would constantly be talking about students that have different learning models, different ways that we prefer learning. Auditory, visual, kinesthetic, they're by touching, by playing, by experience. Everyone's got a different way of learning, right? And we were taught this over and over and over again. You want to try and appeal to all these different students because, you want to reach them in the best possible way. Now, let me clarify by saying I think it's important to test all these skills and to help your students grow in all these different ways. But there has been no data to support by focusing on these things for the particular students that it improves them at all. There's no data for it. It's just one of those things that they've had in education where they say, if a student is a kinesthetic learner, they have to do more and they have to feel more. If someone is more auditory, visual, then you have to show them video. There is no data to actually support that. It's just the fad that happened in education, and then everybody's talking about it, and there's no basis for it. Why? Because actually, students have to learn all these skills anyway. We have to teach them how to read, to listen, to feel. We have to teach all these things, and the students will improve in all of them too. It doesn't mean because I learn better by listening that I'm going to, and I listen more, it's going to make me a better student. No, it just means that I'm not going to use all these other senses and ways too. So yeah, guys, differentiate your learning, use many different ways, but I wouldn't even mention just focusing on one just because students are like that. And a little bit off tangent, the reason I think that we like it, because you like saying, I think I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn better when I do things. humans in general just love to be grouped together. Think about star signs. We like to say, "Oh, I'm part of Pisces," or I'm a Ram," or whatever, because humans love to be part of groups. If somebody asks you, "Okay, so what group were you in high school?" "Oh, I was in this sports team," or "I was a chess player," or "I was really I'm a fashionista," or whatever, because humans love taking on that identity of the group, where it's programmed into our DNA. It's actually what a lot of YouTubers, what they do is they create groups. Right, so a visual learner. So we are those things. People do learn better doing those things. But as a teacher, focus on all of them. Don't focus only on one. Oh yeah. So what was I saying about? Oh, groups. A lot of YouTube channels actually have groups for their members so that you feel part of the community, and that's fantastic. Yeah, I don't really have a name for. So they have names for each one. So the BTS, that Korean K-pop group that's so popular. They're what are they? I just had it. The Nation? No, what are they called again? BTS. The the something. Anyway, so remember, treat everyone equally, have ongoing activities, and very important, Migam, this is maybe the one I'm going to finish on. Scaffold your lessons. So start with the basics, make sure they understand it, and then move up. Pre-teach the vocabulary. Make sure the students know the important vocabulary. Perhaps before reading, show them a picture so that they can see, oh, this is what's going on there. Yeah, well, people sell books because the theory goes. But so what you want to do is make sure that you scaffold your lessons for them to understand it. Show them pictures of what they might encounter in the reading, and then the students read and they pick up, oh, this is what it is. So give them different clues. What you can also do is you can actually tell them the story before they read it so they know what to expect in the story. Finally, see, my brain started to work. Yeah, sometimes it takes a couple of minutes to start working. Yeah, so Migam, I hope you picked that up. If that works, try it out, especially with reading, pre-teach vocabulary, and use all these other things. Bangta, I know, Dad, I need the name for their group. No, no, not their name. The gang. It's gonna bother me. I just had it on my lips. Okay, everyone, how are you doing so far? I know this is a bit of a long video, but I think it's so important to talk about. I don't think many people will watch this video because the first 2 minutes the sound was gone. So thank you so much. The army. There we go. Thank you. That would have bothered me so long. Thank you, Megan. Was that advice okay? I feel like I'm going through it. I might have missed some of the points I made. Yeah, group task, games. Yeah, I think we got an interesting content. If they like it, they're going to enjoy it. So yeah, just make sure that they understand what they're going to read, and then put them in groups. See if they can explain it to the class afterwards. Okay. Excellent. Migam, where are you? I think you told me before. Are you also in Daegu? I can't exactly remember. Iman, what do you teach? And how are you guys doing this weekend? Did you have a nice weekend? What did I do this weekend? Yesterday I worked a little bit. So I went to a coffee shop and I worked. And then I went out last night with some friends. So today I was just recovering most of it. It's getting old. Can't do these weekends anymore. Okay, last one. Now this is a question by Dua. Oh, you're in Jinju. Oh, you told me. Sorry, Migam, I know you told me. Yeah, Jinju, very nice city. I'll probably go down there this summer again when we do. Oh, bye, Dad. I guess my dad has to go. Yeah, I'll probably be down in Jinju again doing the summer camp. I really enjoy doing that, so I might go and do that. If you're there, we can grab a coffee. So, last one. Dua, who also gave the previous week's question, she asked a very important question. She said, how do you deal with students once you give them bad grades? Because she feels like I shouldn't say like, These are the words I should try and avoid because I want to become a better speaker. So is also on the list. It's going to be tough. How do you deal with students once you give them bad grades? Because Dua feels that, they get angry and she doesn't know how to deal with it. Now, this is difficult because obviously, you want to give your students good grades. You want the best for them. And if they're unsatisfied with their grades, they're going to feel demotivated. They don't want to participate in class, and it's going to have a negative effect in class. But obviously there is usually a bell curve, so not everyone can have A's. You're going to have students that perhaps don't perform as well as the others, but you should still push them to do the best possible thing they can. And you want everyone in class to participate, even if they get bad marks. So this is a very difficult topic for every teacher, is giving those bad grades. Because when you mark, you don't want students to fail. It feels bad if you see, they're making so many mistakes and they're unhappy. You're not happy giving them bad marks. But unfortunately, that's part of being a teacher, is giving criticism, telling them that they didn't do as well as they should have. They made mistakes. They should improve in the future. This is how we test how they improve in class, right? So I wrote down a few things. I think the first thing is, make sure that they understand the criteria. Before you test them, you have to say, okay, guys, this is what you have to study. This is what you will get your marks for. This is what you will be graded on. Does everybody understand? So you have to do this in the test to do well. So they have to understand exactly what they're getting their marks for. So they have to know, yes, I did bad, I did great. They are responsible for their bad marks, not you. Yes, you're the one that's instructing them, you're the one preparing them, but you're not the one sitting in the test with them. So make sure they understand exactly what is expected of them. Then, before you hand out their grades, you're an English tutor. Nice. So do you work with a lot of people one-on-one, or do you work with small groups? I haven't been a tutor in a while. I've done tutoring before, but I haven't done it recently. It's a kind of nice setting because you can feel someone getting up. Yeah, thank you, Theo. Theo, you bad. I'll definitely check out your channel after this too. It looks Learn English. I've got a few friends who also have teaching English channels, so I'll check yours out and be interested to see what you've got on there. You teach 7th and 8th grade. Okay, nice. Also French. Interesting. I've got a French friend and he taught me some French words, but now I can't remember any. I'm probably just going to say goodbye and stop the video, and then everything's going to flash back and all the French things I want to say in French. What do they say in French with the football team? Something to motivate the players. I always remember that, and suddenly I forgot that. Okay, now, before you hand out the grades, explain exactly what happened in the test. So you can say a lot of students made this mistake, a lot of students did this right, but they're going to have to work on this. Also, before you give them their grades, explain, you taught those things before and you're disappointed in them, but tell them that if they do, they can improve. They should know that it's always possible to improve. This isn't a fixed thing. They should have an open mindset about this. So before you hand them the grades, make sure that they understand what they were graded on, explain what happened in the test, and tell them, get them ready for it. Tell them, listen, you guys didn't do that well, or you guys did this well, but this was poor. We have to work on this. Don't be too... We can improve this before you give it to them. Then, once they get their grades, obviously they're going to be upset, but they shouldn't be upset at you, especially if it's not your fault. If it's your fault, then, you can improve. But if it's because they didn't study hard, or, maybe they weren't focused on the day, then that's a problem, right? And that's their issue. and you should tell them, listen, guys, we can do this together. I'm a bit disappointed in these grades. And Dua, if you're listening to this, don't take it personally. All of us have had classes where the students underperform. We just learn from it. You also have to become a better teacher. This is grading for you too. So if you feel like the students didn't do very well and maybe you didn't do something right, you can fix it. But it's also not a thing that you have to feel bad because you're a bad teacher. Everybody has those classes. But if it's not your fault and you did everything fine, don't take it personally. Teaching is a long game. Yeah, I don't give you grades. You make your own grades. That's so true. The teacher isn't responsible for them writing the test. They've got the responsibility to study and to prepare well. So I wouldn't take it personally if that was the case. Then you can actually ask them to evaluate themselves. After you go through the test, you say, oh, you've done this wrong, or you go through these questions so that the students understand what they did wrong. You can say, well, evaluate yourself. Do you think you did a good job? Be honest. What grade would you give yourself? Of course, there will be a couple of, jokers that'll say, A plus, man. No, tell them, did you do the best you possibly could, and what can you do better in the future? Because the most important thing is, if you give bad grades, a lot of the students will lose motivation for the class. They'll actually be unmotivated to continue. They'll just think, oh, I'm a failure, I'm never going to get good. So you want to encourage them to have an open mindset. What is that? You get the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So you want to encourage them to have a growth mindset, to believe that this isn't who I am. I can always improve, but I'm going to have to put in the time and the effort. So make sure to get them to do that. And let them know what can they do to improve. Because if they get bad marks and they don't know how to improve, they'll feel like, man, it's impossible. So don't get upset at yourself. Tell the students to prepare them beforehand. Tell them exactly what the criteria is, and then before you hand back the test, tell them what went wrong with it. When they get it, go through the test, see where the mistakes were. Tell them, listen, guys, evaluate yourself, and then tell them you're not a failure. Discourage them from saying, oh, I'm a failure now. Get them positive. Say, next time I want you better. It reminds me of, let me tell you a story. Do you know the story of Michael Jordan? Now, everybody knows Michael Jordan as a fantastic basketball player, and he was super competitive. He wasn't a nice guy, don't get me wrong. Allez le bleu. There we go. Allez. Allez. Yeah, exactly. Allez le bleu. Ah, that's so good. I love it when he said he was here during the World Cup. Yeah, congratulations on the World Cup. I watched it with him, that World Cup final. It was amazing. So good. Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan is super competitive. In anything, he was mean. I just watched a clip a couple of days ago where he retired. He was playing golf because he loves golf. He's super competitive in golf. And this one guy was talking about him, saying, oh, I could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. This rookie that started one of his first seasons playing basketball in the Bulls team. And Michael heard of it. The next day, gets there to the gym, he walks in, everybody's quiet. He's like you and me. And he just mopped the floor with that kid. But the story I actually want to talk about Michael Jordan being super competitive, and what we want in our students is that they want, even if they fail, they don't see it as a failure, they want to improve. He was part of the dream team at the Olympics, that best basketball team in the world, and they just obliterated everyone. So one day they were playing, or he was playing table tennis with a teammate, and he lost. Do you think he felt bad that he lost at table tennis, something he never did? You know what Michael Jordan did? He got them to bring a table tennis like to the training area where he trained basketball, and then after basketball practice, he would go and practice every single day. He would even hire someone to teach him how to play. So for 6 months, this was constantly on his mind. How can I get better? And he played table tennis. 6 months later, met up with that basketball player. He said, now we're going to play. And he destroyed him. And that's the kind of growth mindset that you want. You don't want your students that competitive, but you want that growth mindset in them that they can improve if they put in the time, in the effort. And I love that story of just, never giving up. For myself too, I feel like I make so many mistakes, but I've gotten to a point where I'm very hard-headed, where I'm just, I made a mistake. I'm just going to continue and continue. I'm just going to course correct, and hopefully eventually I get to that goal. Nobody's perfect, but we can improve ourselves every day by, watching these videos, for example. Guys, it's me talking about these things, but you're listening to it, listening to me droning on and on. But hopefully, if there's only just a little bit of information or inspiration that can come from me to you, that's going to make you a better teacher. And well, I'm happy if I can do that, because I'm also learning how to give better information too. Right. Then give them an opportunity to talk to you later. Once you've given them their grades and they've evaluated themselves and they've been through it, tell them, listen, if you have a problem with it, come and see me personally. Don't be angry at me in class. In class, this is a place of learning. Take that bad feeling that you have, that disappointment, throw it out the window. Symbolically, they can roll up a piece of paper, throw it in the dustbin, and then say, let it go. Let it go. Not going to sing. Yeah, so tell them to do that. Let go of the disappointment, but you are open to talk to them personally. Don't take it outside. Don't be angry in class. Don't shout out and be mean. Come and talk to me personally, and we can work on something. And let them evaluate you. At the end, tell them, guys, I'm so disappointed. The class didn't do well. I did my best. I wanted to teach this class in the best possible way I know how. So what do you think? In this class, why do you think you failed? What can I do better? What do you like in class? What is difficult? So give them some time to write down what their thoughts are. How do they want to improve? What do they think can be done better, and what is bad in class? Because that way you get feedback and you can also improve as a teacher. And also they are taking responsibility for their class, because now they feel like they are part of this class. They're not just mindless zombies sitting there taking in information. Now they're actively working on what kind of class they want, and how brilliant is that? And I think that is also the notes I'm going to end today's video on. Today was a long one. Guys, thank you so much for sitting with me. Before we go away, what are your comments? What are your thoughts, your feelings? I think next week I might use my laptop to stream from, because it gives me a little bit more power, and I'll try and get a new mic, because I think audio quality is one of the most important things on YouTube. And for 2 minutes, you couldn't hear me, so that's not great. But yeah, thank you for sitting through. What are your thoughts? Anything that you're excited about this week? Yeah, for me, like I said, I'm going to work on a seminar about phonics that I'll do in a couple of weeks. I hope that'll be okay. Teach beginners in English in Taiwan. Wow. Yeah, well, beginner students, yeah, it's well, thank you, Theo. Yeah, well, it's I just started this channel because I wanted to talk to other teachers and share some of these ideas I had. Yeah, so yeah, it was just a project, but I'm very excited about it. And like I said, I've got a lot of content I want to do in the future. And just like when I said the students have to be part of the class. Yeah, well, I'm going to make that presentation, and maybe I'll make my own personal video about it too. For now, the next couple of weeks, I'll just do these activity-based lessons. I've got a lot of videos planned that I want to do. I just have to get around to do it. Algerian, nice. Okay. Allez le Verts. Did I say it right? Allez le Verts. Okay, Algerian team. Do they have a special name? Like, I know the Nigerians have the Eagles. South Africa, we're Bafana Bafana. Do they have like a special name too? Leverts, maybe? How are you guys doing? Do you follow the African Cup of Nations? I'm not a big soccer guy. I just watch when my friends watch. My brothers love Liverpool, so I don't watch the games. I'll watch highlights or good goals or something. And then when the World Cup comes, I'll watch a few games with friends. Yeah, yeah, Theo, I think there's some interesting things. I haven't been to Taiwan. I'd love to go. How is it there? I've heard a lot about it. You guys are okay with the coronavirus? I don't think there are too many infections, are there? I know that recently Hong Kong, people are buying up supplies. One of my friends also suggested maybe I should get some. Yeah, it's good. I don't know much about it. Ah, you did the African Cup in Egypt. Congratulations. Wow. Oh, so yeah, like I said, Algeria, were they at the last World Cup? I can't remember. I don't think so. But hopefully now they might improve. I don't have much hope for Bafana Bafana, the South African squad. They haven't been performing well in since forever. But PUBG? No, I don't. I've played one or two games a long time ago, Haziz. I don't really play a lot of games these days. I used to play some games like PUBG, and I've got my PlayStation 4 down here, but my TV's never on. Yeah, I don't really play in a lot of games anymore. I'm sorry. This is mostly a channel about teaching, so I'm sorry if it's a bit if it's not about gaming and stuff. But yeah, I think PUBG is very popular in Korea, though. A lot of kids are playing the mobile one. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Taiwan. Yeah, I think I'll look a little bit into Taiwan because recently I've been thinking about where I want to travel in the future. Oh, thanks, Sol. Well, it's nice having you here. And if you want to say anything, where are you from? Feel free to join. It's just me talking for another minute or so. So feel free to join in. Yeah, I'm thinking. So I've got these vacations, and I feel unless I start a family at some point, hopefully in the next couple of years, before that I'll do some traveling and Taiwan. Oh, thank you, Sol. That's kind of you. Do you have a channel too? If you have, I'll subscribe to you too, and maybe I'll watch some of your videos. Yeah, maybe I'll go and check out Taiwan. Sure. I'd like to too. Like I said, I've actually got a series on interviewing teachers, and I just did an interview with another South African teacher too, and I'd love to talk to other teachers too, because right here it's just me talking, but once you have a conversation with another teacher, so many good ideas. Well, thank you, Sol. Yeah, that's so nice of you. I really appreciate that. I'll sub to you too. Guys, check out Sol's channel, sub to him too. Uh, just start making videos. Exactly. The first ones I have, it was a difficult process, and I mean, like anything, you have to start. You have to start somewhere. So make some videos, put it out, and especially with the content, you'll get a feel for where you want to go in the future. I've got an idea of what I want to do with the series, and that's going to be my baby this year. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, guys, check out Sol. Sol, thank you so much for saying hello. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Just reached the hour mark. This is my longest video. And yeah, it was nice. I always appreciate talking to you all. I hope you have a fantastic bye, Sol. I hope you have a fantastic week. Good luck in everything you're going to do. I hope you have a successful time. Yeah, I'll check if you've got your email in there. You can add me on the Facebook Etiquette Facebook group. You can go there, or you can send me an email. It's in my about page. Okay, everyone, have a good time, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.